2017 marks the third year for the GSCO Wounded Veteran Program. Up to this point, this has been made possible by some very generous donors and auction buyers, and we anticipate the program moving forward and growing for many years to come. The Wounded Veteran Committee is made up of Dan Adler of Arizona, representing the Air Force, Seth Campbell of Alabama, the Army, Keith Height of Pennsylvania, the Army, Dale Martin of Iowa, the Marines, and Harvey Trueblood of Alabama with the Navy. This committee will be coming to the stage to help honor this year's recipients. Yes, we said recipients because this year the committee couldn't help but choose two from the several applications submitted. Before we get to this year's recipients, we'd like to mention that the 2015 recipient was Sergeant Major Hugh Foskey, and he got a Wyoming Bighorn on his hunt that year. Outfitter Josh Martolio guided Hugh free of charge as part of GSCO's program. The 2016 recipient was Sergeant First Class Jeremiah Wagner. He hunted with Leif Olson in Stone Mountain Safaris to get a great moose last year. We'd like to ask you to hold your applause, as hard as that's going to be, until the end of the program. But right now we'd like to invite this year's recipients, Sergeant Marco Solt and Staff Sergeant Joshua Kruger, to begin making their way to the stage. Sergeant Marco Solt calls Ramsey, Minnesota home. Marco's 27 years old, married, and has two sons. Marco served 4.5 years in the United States Army as a combat engineer. After a few years stationed in Bamberg, Germany, he was deployed to Afghanistan. Marco's unit was conducting a routine clearance patrol when his vehicle was struck by an improvised explosive device weighing over 200 pounds. As a result of the blast, he lost both of his legs from the knees down. Marco was sent back to the United States for 1.5 years of intense rehabilitation at the National Medical Center in Bethesda, Maryland, in order to be able to walk again. After his rehab, Marco was medically retired and was able to return home. Some of the extremely important awards associated with why Marco was chosen are the Purple Heart, Bronze Star with V device for Valor, Army Service Ribbon, Army Commendation Medal, Global War on Terrorism Medal, and Afghanistan Campaign Medal. Marco readily admits that hunting's been a major part of his life. He was fearful for a while that he'd be unable to continue to do so because of his injuries. He says that hunting has become a therapeutic outlet for him, and was because of support from other veterans that he started to hunt again. In Marco's application, he said it was his dream to hunt wild sheep. While in Afghanistan's mountains, he would occasionally see rams, and even then he dreamed about hunting them. Marco desires to prove to himself as an amputee and to other amputees that anything is possible. Marco says that along with his wife and children, it's hunting that gives him purpose in life. Staff Sergeant Joshua Kruger lives in Hubertus, Wisconsin. Immediately after high school, he enlisted in the United States Marine Corps. Josh was the fourth generation in his family to become a Marine. Before being deployed to Iraq, he served in numerous locations around the globe with 1st Battalion, 5th Marines. Josh was then reassigned to 2nd Marine Expeditionary Force as a detail leader for a 20-man unit responsible for the safety of high-ranking officials within the Iraqi theater of operations. On February 20th, 2005, Joshua's detail was struck by an improvised explosive device in Fallujah, Iraq. He was severely wounded and in critical condition from arterial blood loss from injuries to his neck. He suffered blast damage to his left eye and extreme damage to his left arm. He was medically evacuated to Balad, Iraq, and stabilized as best as possible. He was transferred to the National Medical Center in Bethesda, Maryland, where the majority of his care was rendered. After more than a dozen surgeries, Joshua was medically retired from the Marine Corps in 2006. Joshua received the following awards while serving in the Marine Corps: National Defense Medal, Humanitarian Service Medal, Presidential Unit Citation, Navy Unit Citation, Joint Meritorious Unit Citation, Overseas Service Award, Good Conduct Medal, Combat Action Ribbon, Purple Heart, Global War on Terrorism Service Medal, and the Iraq Campaign Service Medal. Josh was an avid outdoorsman and extremely passionate about hunting. He's been deer hunting since he was a young boy. A few years ago, he shot an elk in Wyoming, and this past year, He even killed a black bear using his bow. His number one dream hunt is to hunt a moose. Because of Joshua's eye and arm injuries, he has found ways to adapt and overcome those difficulties. Joshua wears an American flag prosthetic eye proudly as a reminder of what he went through and to show his patriotism for our great country. With this hunt provided by the Wounded Veteran Program, Joshua intends to create life-changing new memories to help dull the horrific memories of war. Both of these recipients are going to get their dream hunts, with Marco getting a first-class Aldad hunt and Joshua getting that moose hunt that he mentioned. All of their expenses associated with their hunts and travel will be included. We've also given honorary GSCO life memberships to both Marco and Joshua. We want them to be a part of GSCO forever. Ladies and gentlemen, would you now join us in congratulating these American heroes who've made it possible for us to even be here tonight? Let's hear it for them.